always was drawn to being creative and making things. And then as I continued on, I took art lessons that helped support that. I went on in high school to Magnet High School, DuPont Manual in Louisville. And there I specialized my studies on art and got to explore ceramics and drawing and painting and photography. So how all these different things came together. And then I ultimately ended up in St. Louis going to Washington University, and I studied art and design there. And my major ended up being sculpture. I was really into drawing and painting, but I also really enjoyed making things and working with my hands and constructing things. Sculpture sort of provided a lot of different opportunities for all those things to come together. And now I would say my artwork really is focused on the ideas I want to express, and I think about what type of mediums are going to best be used to express that. My name is Brad McCombs. I'm the Associate Professor of Art at Northern Kentucky University. Currently, I'm also the Program Head of Art and Design. Although a lot of my materials that I use end up being a mix between using found objects in non-traditional ways, so like using sticks or coconuts and mixing them with robots and motors and light. So really exploring these materials in different ways and having them combine in new combinations. I always like to connect a lot of sort of environmental and social issues to my artwork as well. As an artist, I think I have the opportunity to bring up new ideas and to explore them through my art making process, but also to share those with other people. So to get them to maybe think about something from a different perspective. There are some people who are just naturally able to like draw or work with a particular material. They just gravitate toward and are able to naturally sort of work with that. But I also like to point out that a lot of us stop drawing or stop emphasizing the creative process around the time we're in second grade. Other things sort of start to come in, more language-based things, more math-based things. And a lot of times that goes to the wayside. And then later on, they start to pick it up again and they're like, oh, well, I can draw at a second grade level. Well, yeah, that's sort of when you stopped. So I do think that if it's something that you're passionate about, you can gain that skill and practice technique. I think the most important thing is, just keep making artwork. Staying active. And you want to push your ideas and push and explore all the different opportunities that art has. One of the great things of going to college or university is you'll be able to really explore things like digital art or animation or metalworking studio, woodworking studio, printmaking studio. There's all these options, these different types of processes and materials that you will get access to and be able to work through a lot of them to figure out, I never knew that I'd like printmaking because I just never had that opportunity. The other thing is just, having ideas. So, keeping a sketchbook and as ideas come up, write them down. You can sketch them out, but that can become an important resource for you in terms of developing your ideas and pushing them along as well. But there's a lot of different opportunities for art lessons or art activities. I was also involved with Blink, being involved and going to art gallery openings, going to museums. All of these places have resources where you can engage in art and to sort of stay active and to be looking at what other artists are making, I think is really important. One of the things I see in portfolios that I think is really important is just making sure you have a lot of work, but then to narrow it down to between 10 and 15 pieces. So that selection process becomes really important. Use the opportunities to go to portfolio reviews. Almost all universities, there's several portfolio reviews throughout the year, so use that to engage with art professors. In terms of individual art pieces, one of the things that I see a lot of is artwork, especially two-dimensional, where the image, the main subject, is right in the middle of the page. So think creatively also about the composition. Try to mix it up a little bit. Put something a little bit more asymmetrical off center. So that's a good tip. Creative activity is part of our culture and our economy, a broader understanding of all the possibilities there are as a creative in the world today. So we bring in guest artists to NKU all the time. So we've brought in medical illustrator who took classes here at NKU, and now he's making well over $100,000 doing these medical illustrations. We've got a really strong program here at NKU for animation. That's a whole new sort of area of exploration. You look at the end of any sort of feature-length animated film, look at all the creatives that were part of that, from someone who's lighting it, to someone who's creating the backgrounds, to the character development, the storyboarder. So you've got all of these different roles that artists utilize, and just expanding and understanding that there are lots of opportunities. If you're a creative person, you can make a living and make a good living, exploring the things that make you happy and that are going to help feed not only your soul, but also you can make a living off of doing these creative activities as well. I'm an artist, you could be too. Try this transformative project. This would be a great project for a portfolio. Identify a space that you have access to and take some items and transform that space into something that you think is visually interesting. And then once you've done that, keep pushing that. You could use things in a very modular way, repeat things, cover it in spoons or stuffed animals or something that you have a lot of. And then put yourself in that space. You can take a photograph of it, you can paint yourself in that space, but somehow transform a space and have yourself interact with that space somehow. I think if you did something like that, that would be a really transformative experience, and start to explore ideas of installation, and could also explore some very interesting conceptual ideas through that as well.